Hello, welcome everybody. We decided to have this discussion about utopia art and veganism. And Alexis, as some of you may know, has been studying art, and there's a theme that can be found through a variety of artists related to utopia. And she thought it would be a very interesting discussion to see how that might relate to veganism. So I thought we'd cover these topics a little bit. And Alexis, if you could you share with the viewers perhaps a very basic definition of utopia, and then what you've seen in the way that it's expressed through various artists?
Yeah, sure. Well, utopia has two different translations or definitions. It's like one because utopia it comes from a Greek, or it's a Greek word, so it means no place, but also it's translated as good place. So um, yeah, these two definitions you can find all over in the artworks or in the theoretical thinking part about utopia because first, Utopia used to be a place that is far away, so it's a place that you cannot reach, but it's supposed to be like a dreamland, like a place where there are no problems, where everything is solved, and then or the way that they thought that it would be a dream place at the time, which is also very interesting because that definition of what is a good world changed over time as well.
Very
And
interesting. Yeah.
when people started traveling and saw all the different islands and found them, then it kind of got to more of a no place or a place in the future that you cannot really reach. So it's a place that is so far away and that it might come at some point and it might not. So
So in
Utopia
other
was
words,
always some.
so you mean when they started discovering tropical islands, like Europeans were finding like
Yeah,
Polynesian islands and that sort of thing? It
yeah.
was a physical manifestation of a utopia.
Yeah, at some point they thought Utopia would be, I don't know, a city or
Which
a
is also very
country
interesting
on
because
the
that
islands of
definition of what is the good
Madagascar or
world
something.
changed over time as well.
Wait a some.
Very
And
interesting. Yeah.
Wait.
when people started
Wait.
traveling and saw all the different islands and found them, then it kind of got to more of a no place or a place.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah, something weird is happening.
Yeah, I don't know why. Ah, okay.
So bear with us, folks. We had a little technical issue, but hopefully we'll get that resolved, and we can continue with our discussion. So the general gist of this was, utopia, and how does veganism perhaps relate to what might be characterized as utopia, in which people's needs, all people's needs are met, and the society reflects a great deal more harmony than what we're seeing right now. So I think that in terms of veganism, of course, because of its ramifications environmentally, ethically, and economically, in terms of broad access to food, to see, uh, let's see here. Ah, So apparently, many artists have been depicting their impressions or imagination of what utopia might be like, and that can take many different forms. And I think there's a variety of artists that Alexis has come across who are doing this. And another interesting aspect of this is how artists, in a sense, influence the progression of society. So, you know, art is all around us, and it manifests in so many different ways in commercialism and sales, of course, kind of in a way that's perhaps unseen or affects our subconscious, but also, of course, just art in the direct sense. If you appreciate art, then you may be a purchaser of art, you know, in terms of visual arts, but also music, sculpture, and even architecture. Art kind of runs throughout the culture in so many different ways. And when leading artists are expressing principles of utopia, you could say it's a reflection of an aspect of consciousness on a larger scale. So if it's coming up commonly, then perhaps it means that there's a resuscitation or a rebirth of the principle within consciousness, which could mean that it's coming, that it's more possible. So the fact that people are talking about it is very interesting. And I think one of the big principles in this is technology and consciousness and how they relate. And as technology advances and it becomes easier to address what were serious problems, we may be able to come closer to a utopia as technology progresses and consciousness progress, because of course consciousness is required to the level where we actually care enough about those that are suffering that we apply technology to those problems. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the broadcast, but we'll restart it, and hopefully we'll see you all shortly.